everyone. It's Matt Hansberger again here with the Broker Pulse. I want to talk to you about what is one of my absolute favorite topics when it comes to dealing with agents and running a great brokerage: training. I came from a background of being a trainer in my past life before I moved into the real estate business, and went through sales for about 3 or 4 years, and then moved into the management team at this brokerage, and ultimately now into the position where I'm one of the owners here. And it's always been a passion of mine. It was certainly the path into leadership that I took. And training agents has just so many different positive effects on the brokerage that it's impossible for you to not realize some benefit from doing some training. So I'm going to speak about a very specific method that I have always been taught and have used in terms of how to train not just agents, but generally doing adult training. This method has got a little acronym to it, and the acronym is Itomo. I was taught this method by a great corporate trainer who led me into the world of doing corporate training a little bit in a previous role. And Itomo is this concept that it just makes it easier for adults to be open to learning. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about it because I think it's really important that we think about how we structure a training program. Again, many of us who are brokerage owners, brokers, those kinds of people, we haven't really had a lot of training in how to build a training program for adults. We kind of just try and show people what we've always done. But just following a very sort of simple method to structuring a training session, I think will actually improve the quality of the training that you're doing in your brokerage. So what does Itomo mean? What does it stand for? So Itomo means introduction, title, objective, motivation, and outline. And I think you should start every single one of the sessions that you do by considering those 5 things. I'm going to run through them really quickly, and hopefully by the end of this session you'll have a bit more structure to make a little bit better presentation for the agents in your office, and ultimately hope to make them more productive. So introduction. One of the keys to giving a great introduction for any kind of training session is to qualify why they should be listening to you. People who are adults have obviously lots of pulls on their time, and so if they're going to come sit in a training session or participate in one out in the field with you, they want to know, why am I being led by this person? So giving a qualifying introduction about why they should be listening to you is where you have to start. If you really listen to speakers who you go see at conferences or whatever, they'll start almost every presentation that they do by describing to you why you should be there listening to them. And I think that's an important thing. It gets a little bit of buy-in as to, again, your qualifying criteria or why they should be listening to you. Giving a title to a presentation that you're doing really just is there to cement the message for later on. If you need to come back and refer back to this training session in a future one, having a great kind of catchy title for the training session would be really important for you as well. You could say, hey, remember back when we did a killer open houses session? That's where you're going to really spark a lot of the memories about that session with them. The third thing is the objective. I think it's important, once you've said why they're listening to you, to explain to them what they should expect to get out of the session. When you end the session with them, what should they expect to have? Really important, because that's what people are going to be looking for all the way along. So if you just give them a little taste of it right off the bat, then they can kind of put their minds at ease and say, okay, this is where I'm going to be at the end of the session. That's an important thing for adults, as they're accepting learning that you're going to be delivering. The fourth is motivation. So not only where am I going to end at the end of this session, but why should they care about that? So if you're going to, again, do a session on open houses, we'll use that as our example. Why should they care about doing a good open house? What is the benefit to them of having a great open house or knowing how to hold a great open house? It seems fairly obvious to us in this moment in our lives because we've done open houses and had success with them and found clients, and it's turned into revenue for us. But for an agent who's maybe not as familiar with the concept of open houses to find buyers, it's something that you really want to understand or help them understand what the motivation is to why they should bother sitting through this session. And then the last thing I think you should do for every agent or every person that you're doing training with is create an outline for what you're going to go over. If you create that outline and then you hit the expectations all the way along, it's a satisfying thing for people. While they're listening to the training, they're kind of going through the checklist that you've created for them and checking off different pieces of it. And so if you've set up that outline early on, they become satisfied and they know how they're progressing. You know, when you do like an online survey or you do an online course, there's kind of like a progress bar across the top. The outline is that you setting up that progress bar for an in-person type of session. And they can kind of keep track of, okay, well, we've moved this much along the line towards the objective that the trainer set out for me at the beginning. So I promise you, if you take a minute, it only takes a few minutes as you're developing a session to sit down and just write out this acronym, Itomo, I-T-O-M-O, on a piece of paper and try and just come up with what you think the qualifying intro, the title, the objective, the motivation, and the outline is for your session. It's going to be a better experience for the people that you're training, and ultimately that'll help make the agents in your office more productive. That's it for now. Thanks.